Do you have any worries regarding Israel and Gaza about the floating dock? And how can aid workers be protected?
Worries? What do you mean by worries?
Any concerns about its status, viability?
Well, I mean, let me break that up a couple of ways. I mean, obviously the temporary pier, it's known as a JLOT, it's Joint Logistics Over the Shore. It's on its way to the Eastern Mediterranean right now. Hasn't arrived yet, and it'll take some time once it gets there to be assembled and to achieve what we call interim operating capability. We expect that will happen in coming weeks. There's no concern in terms of our ability and the skills needed to build it and to get it up and running. What we are working with partners in the region are two things. One is the logistics flow, getting the maritime materials to the pier, and then working with the Israelis in particular about how that pier is protected and secured, and how the aid, the material, gets from the pier into Gaza and further distributed. Those modalities are still being worked out.
And do the recent events like the strike you referenced raise additional...
Oh, believe me, we're under no illusion about the fact that Gaza is a war zone. And force protection of our troops, which will not be entering Gaza, will be first and foremost in the president's mind, as well as our military leaders, to make sure that they can operate that pier, assemble it and operate it in a safe way. But believe me, we're well aware. Gaza is a war zone. In fact, that it is a war zone is, again, what makes it so challenging to get the humanitarian aid to people in need.
Thanks. John, you said that the White House is outraged by the strike that killed these World Central Kitchen workers. Has the White House already conveyed that outrage to anyone in the Israeli government, and what was their response?
Well, I won't speak for the Israelis. We've been very clear about our feelings over this particular strike and our expectations of the Israelis.
Have they provided, or has the Pentagon been able to gain any understanding of what happened here yet? I know it's early, but it sounds, based on what Jose Andres has said, that these workers were doing everything right. Their vehicle was marked, they were in a safe zone.
Yeah.
What more could they have done?
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's devastating to see these images and to hear these early reports about the steps that they tried to take to protect themselves. But the Israelis, look, they've already said this was on them, and they're doing this investigation. We obviously want to make sure that investigation gets completed and is as transparent as possible. And as I said in my opening statement, that there's accountability to be held here.
One quick question on China. What was the president's message to the president when it comes to Chinese misinformation campaigns or any effort by the Chinese government or people associated with the Chinese government to interfere with the 2024 election?
I would just say that we've been clear consistently, even going back to the November meeting in California, about our concerns over our own election security and efforts by certain actors, including some from the PRC, to affect that.
So there was no new message in this conversation?
I don't have a new message to read out to you today.